Alright, welcome to Will Cook Music Reviews. I'm Will Cook, and no wasting time, we're gonna get right into round 2 of my top 100 songs of 2020 countdown. Built. Now this came to me late this year, but it squeezed into my top 100 because I don't hear much else like this stuff. It comes off of Bilmuri's latest EP, which is my first real experience with the artist. He mixes elements of metalcore with pop and EDM and a whole bunch of other weird stuff in there, and it's really quite exciting. This was the biggest standout from the EP. You get this really cool, vocally warped hook that's really heavy, but also really poppy, and he even throws in a wicked guitar solo in the bridge. You never know what you're gonna get from this guy, and I'll definitely be keeping him close. Fever 333 makes some pretty angry protest music in the vein of a band like Rage Against the Machine, and they definitely made their message loud and clear on their 2020 EP. This is the most in-your-face smasher with a furiously catchy hook. It has a torrential and rage-inspiring presence to it. Feels like some sort of battle anthem. It is fast, aggressive, and so much fun. We gon' die together. We gon' walk through the fire together. R.I.P. Of all the albums I listened to this year, it's Neck Deep's latest that makes me think of summer the most. They made a pretty solid set of pop punk, and this is the one that hits me in the gut the most. It has a bit of this early 2000s radio feel to it, and it kind of makes Sheryl Crow's Soak Up the Sun cross my mind. And yeah, the chorus crashes in with this pretty euphoric energy, does a good job at pulling the air out of my chest, giving me butterflies, and if you can do that, then you've likely earned yourself a spot on my top 100. This is the sound that we make. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of the old school Biffy Clyro fans were not too stoked on this kind of pop-leaning lead single ahead of the band's latest album, but I'm definitely not an old school fan, and I was swooning over this song when it came out, and I still am. Yeah, there's some big synths and not too much crazy rock aggression, but that halftime pull the floor out from under you hook is awe-inspiring and so epic. It's the type of song that makes me imagine myself walking away from an explosion in slow motion, and if a song can do that, then it deserves the praise. This band goes way back for me. They have been tirelessly releasing music on a consistent basis throughout their career. I remember frontman Shane Todd hyped up this latest album of theirs as being the best of their discography, and I knew going into it there was no way that this was going to beat the classics of Discovering the Waterfront and Shipwreck in the Sand. And it didn't, but it's an admirable effort that shows a refined screamo punk sound, and it's this deep cut stop here that hits me the hardest with the most unique and refreshing melody. A very clean, catchy, heavy sound. It's what I love about Silverstein. Now this is the UK metalcore band's first single since 2018's Holy Hell, and that album gave me one of the best songs that I've ever heard with Hereafter, landing at number 10 on my top of the year. And honestly, this song probably could have landed a bit higher on this countdown, but it came to me late in the year, and I just haven't really formed quite the same relationship with it as some of the stuff higher on the list. But yeah, this song is just unreal. It hits so hard with that pulsing synth-backed hook. It can almost bring tears to my eyes. It tears into me so good. You get the ominous sirens and the gnarly-ass bridge, and that whispered dream within as it moves into the hook just adds all the more power to it. Yeah, this was an early year single from this Australian rock group, but I didn't come across it until a bit later in the year, and I'm glad I caught it because it is very much deserving of a spot on my top 100. It is big, anthemic, heavy, super catchy, and expansive also. You get this stunning horn interlude in there before it crashes back into the choir-backed chorus that soars with this passionate and inspiring energy, an epic song, and I can't wait to see what these guys have coming next. One of my favorite bands from high school, the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, has been a little rocky over the past 10 years, but they came back with a vengeance on their latest EP. 6 songs that slam me with the most amount of melodic heaviness that I've heard from them since their early days. And this is the one I chose to showcase the EP. It's about that feeling, and it delivers the most of it with a drop-in chorus that has an out-of-this-world gravity-defying presence to it. I am surrounded by the crashing drums and the shredding guitar, but I'm floating through it all, and it is wonderfully powerful.
If you found a gun, would you use it like I did? Put a bullet in my...
The Used is one of my all-time favorite bands. 2007's Lies for the Liars is pretty much the definition of nostalgia for me. 2009's Artwork goes down as one of the best albums I've ever heard. And over 10 years later, I am just so happy to see that they are still releasing music. Their latest album is admirable for its willingness to try new things, but most of it didn't stick. This one, though, the lead single, it screamed classic Used to me right away. Or maybe not quite classic, but like 2012 The Used, with amazing songs like I Come Alive and Hands and Faces. These guys know how to make an exciting hook the most it can be. Like on this one, it drops in so hard, and then it gives you that second drop in there with the I don't think you could. It is a badass, dirty, and horrendously infectious song.
I used to be the king, but they took everything.
Another band that has been with me for the past 10 years, they didn't mean nearly as much to me back then as The Used did, but they mean more to me now than The Used does. They've just been more consistent over the years. I feel like The Used are long past their prime, and I think we might not have even hit the prime yet for Enter Shikari. I chose this song off their latest album because it's a beautiful snapshot of the sound they're displaying in 2020. Wobbly synths, scattered drums, an amazingly tight lyrical performance from frontman Raul Reynolds, and you get some horns in there for a chorus that really suits the medieval theme of the song. Massively invigorating, and it felt like a great way to cap off this group of 10 on the countdown. This song opens up the Killer's fantastic latest album, Imploding the Mirage, and it felt like a fitting way to kick off the top 60 of 2020. It has such a large and grandiose personality that really sets you up for what's to come with the album. It's polished and bright with a heavy-handed drum beat pulling it along, taking their desert rock and roll sound to huge heights.
You're so hardcore. You make me wanna start a band.
The first artist to show up twice on my top 100, Matthew Murphy, the frontman of English alt-pop group The Wombats, with his side project Love, Fame, Tragedy. 2 fantastic songs I pulled off of his pretty solid album from this year. Both couldn't quite make the top 50, but this one sure came close. The way the chorus rips in hits with an amazingly dark and thrilling energy, and the juxtaposing feeling between the bridge and that final hook is wonderfully intense. The Australian artist of Angus and Julia Stone fame released a few singles over the second half of the year, and it was my first time listening to any of her solo work. I was wowed by the beauty of this song, very heart-touching, very pretty, with this tear-jerking melancholy to it. She has such a soft, whispery voice that holds a surprising amount of strength. I hear a hint of steel guitar in the mix that complements her folksy roots. You know, I haven't spent nearly as much time with this song as a lot on this list, but there is this real emotional weight to the track that has this longevity to it. Like I could picture myself dancing to this song years from now.
I go further to show you not till you get in.
Well, this year was my first time with an Alanis album since listening to Supposed Former Infatuation Junkie in the car as a kid, and I was not expecting that she would leave such a mark on my 2020, but she proved with her latest that she still has a lot left to give. And this song is the peak for me. It's slow but sweet, and Alanis has a real way of keeping my attention with that sharp edge to her voice, and I'm not really a lyrically focused guy, but I love the way she writes about these barriers in a relationship. The line, "You see the figure skater and I fear the ice is thin," is like the standout lyric of the year. This UK band has given me some huge standouts over recent years. Both of their past two albums gave me high charting year-end favorites. Good Shot, Good Soldier made it to #1 on my top 100 of 2017. And when you look at that, they have given me a couple more for my top 100 with their latest album. They obviously know how to get under my skin with their music, and this song shows off their quirky alternative guitar pop style with a chorus that just screams originality. The fanfare around Folklore this year was impossible to ignore, and I caved in under social pressure and gave it a listen. And yeah, I get it, whatever, it's pretty good. And I'll admit, I adore this song. I've heard a bit of Bon Iver in the past, and I think his vocals sound better than ever on this heart-wrenching piano piece.
So step right out. There is no amount of crying I can do for all this time.
Literally close to tears. Fucking love it. That melody is unreal. I've really never heard anything like it. I never thought I'd have a Taylor Swift song on my top 100, but I can be proud of this one. And to be honest, it's pretty much because of Bon Iver's part that it's even on here to begin with. This band means the world to me. Some of the best music I have ever heard comes from Blue October, and they released a very strong album this past fall. And their music, it will never hit me the same way that it did back in the day, but they come pretty close on Fight for Love. Over the years, frontman Justin Furstenfeld's lyrics have turned from despair to hope, and they display that hope in the best possible way on this massive uplift of a song that explodes with this infectious eagerness. Very inspiring, very powerful, very big, heavy display in the dazzling chorus, and you get this lovely little feature from Justin's firstborn daughter, Blue, at the end. It's the biggest stunner from Blue October in 2020. I am so happy I came across this Vancouver-based Irish artist this year. I have not heard a song quite like this one in 2020. It's an acoustic-backed, country-leaning song with light percussion, piano, some orchestral strings, and my god, does this song deliver some heavy emotion. It informed me of this tragedy that I never knew about. 1998 in Omagh in Northern Ireland, a car bombing that killed 29 people. And the song touches on the stories of two children from Paul's hometown that were killed in the bombing. The guy has an amazing voice with that country flavor, and the song builds as it moves through each chorus, leading to a phenomenal hit into the final round. A mesmerizing and tragic song that has brought tears to my eyes and is also just an absolute pleasure to sing along to.
All my friends, all my friends, all...
Speaking of sad sing-alongs, this horribly despairing piano-led song is the perfect range for me, and when I sing along to it, I feel like frontman Will Gould's voice blends into my own, and it is wonderfully rewarding. It's an absolute bummer of a song, though. Will wrote it while a friend of his was in the hospital, and I believe the song has to do with substance abuse and depression. Just has that beautiful sadness to it, and it cements Will Gould as one of my favorite vocalists. What the fuck? I just had like a pigeon attack my window. I've never heard those sounds come out of a pigeon before. Well, I wanted something big to cap off the bottom half of my top 100 countdown, and there was no better choice than this gorgeous piece off of Nothing But Thieves' latest album. Connor Mason has a voice that sets itself apart from your average rock vocalist, and it's what makes this band so special, and it shines about as strong as I've heard it on Real Love Song. But the song wouldn't be the same without that ringing guitar that pretty much defines the huge second part to the chorus. It's the type of song that I would want to play on the top of a mountain on a nice day with a beautiful view, would make the perfect soundtrack. Alright, I'm gonna wrap it up here for this round of my top 100 countdown. I will be kicking off the top 50 with the next video on the way after this. Thank you for checking this out. I'd love a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. Hit the subscribe, I've got more on the way, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to chat. I'll see you next time.